3 times in my head.
That's
It's Stosh with Fujifilm. Weird intro. We're focusing mostly on cinema lenses because I've spoken ad nauseum in every form imaginable how the GFX 100, the second, is the best mirrorless camera on the market, period. Granted, there are certainly use cases that other cameras might be better for, but overall, I think that's the best camera. And obviously, the X100 6 just came out recently, but most people know about that. So we're doing lenses. What's the max open? 2.8?
It's a 2.8, and it's a 5 at 1,000 mil. There's a 1.5 times expander in the turret, so you can engage that. You can go full frame.
Yeah.
Or if you stay Super 35, it could be 37.5 to 1,500.
Damn. But this is a 2/3.
Nope. That's Sony's F5500. So it's a broadcast camera with a PL mount front end. So it's a Super 35,
right?
28.5 mil image circle, but it's their SMPTE fiber.
Yep.
So if you're in a truck environment, a studio environment, a multicam environment where your shaders got 10 RCPs lined up, it's the same one.
Well, and
your shaders shade in this camera just like every other camera, but the director's getting a cinematic look.
Sure. And I just saw Ari just released the 35 Live,
right?
Which
same principle. So they're trying to go head to head. The good news is that was the most robust business over the last year we've had in cinema, was through all the live event stuff. So for the cinema vendors that only do scripted products relevant to scripted work, they've been in a tough go last year with the strikes, right? Where this sports is strike proof, so to speak, unless the sport goes on strike.
It depends on the sport or global pandemic. That'll shut it down.
Yeah.
Watching when the NBA finally can't, I remember the NHL canceled, but when the NBA was like, we're done, I was like, oh, this might be real. Yeah.
I live in Toronto. I was in New York as that was all going down. My kids they were teenagers, so they were getting pulled off the ice, in minor hockey games. Okay, we're done.
It was a Kings game for
me.
It
was spring break, so I was supposed to go to the Devils game that night in New York. It got canceled, and then the Friday morning I had appointments, and I had a lunch with Panavision. I was flying home at 7 o'clock Friday night.
Yeah.
I called Panavision in the morning. I'm like, I'm just coming to catch up and chit chat. I'm going to the airport. I'm getting the hell out of here before 7 o'clock tonight. Shit's closing way too fast. I want to get back to my country.
Yeah.
I like you guys. I don't want to be... Sorry, anyway, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, you said this is 25 to 1,000?
Right.
Just insane. That's so... Broadcast stuff is so fun. I'm cinema side, so
So you say that, but we had, in September... Look at wildlife. Look at that screen right there. Give it a minute.
Yep.
You're going to see Bob Poole, hopefully where the BTS shots will come. He had on Alexa 35s strapped to the side of his Land Rover in Kenya for 3 months, this length.
The box.
Okay, here it comes. We should see him in a minute. He's been here. No, he's
not that one.
That's that lens.
Right.
So in a minute there's pictures all over the booth around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing the GFX piece now. But anyways. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
Cabrios were the first, and they're 11 years old now. They were the first one for us to put a broadcast servo E&G drive unit on the side of a city lens.
Yeah.
But the optics in those ones were leaning more towards cinema. We tried to keep flat T-stops where we could, really greatly reduced breathing, easily removable hand grip, all that good stuff. The Duvos are dual format live. So we're leaning more toward live broadcast. So we're trying to maximize focal lengths, 25 to 1,000 mil, 14 to 100, 24 to 300. Maximize the focal length, let it ramp a little, let it breathe some more.
Right.
But in a live environment, you're stuck behind a barricade, you're stuck behind a sideline. You're somewhere where you can't take 3 steps forward. Right? So
and also breathing isn't really an issue for sports, no one cares.
Right. So now, these box lenses breathe, but they're belt-driven, precise servos in here, very precise. So we have breathing compensation. We know how much the lens breathes.
Right.
So as you rack focus, you'll see the zoom moves. Right? If it's on, let's see if it's on.
Luckily, I have done broadcast before in a previous life. Oh wow!
Right. So if you go full wide now,
yep,
and rack focus, you'll see it breathes.
Sure.
Because you're hitting the end stop. There's nowhere for the zoom to go.
I see.
So zoom in 3 mil and then rack focus, and the breathing goes away.
There's our buddy right there. Oh, this way.
So having breathing compensation, having a cinema lens in this box with all the electronics wrapped around it, optical stabilization, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Gives you the ability to have some of those kinds of features.
That's really nice.
Yeah. What we have set up on here too, while he's catching it, is you'll see that there's a Preston NDR on there.
Right.
So the beauty of this is it works in a broadcast setup, no problem. Single operator, off you go. A lot of the customers using these right now are using them. Taylor Swift movie had 6 of them on it, I believe. In those scenarios, they're using a focus puller.
Right.
So you have your operator like you would on a film set and a separate focus puller. So what we've done is work closely with the vendors of the focus tools, the lens control tools in cinema. This is a Preston hand unit. So now what we can do, you'll see there's a special cable that comes out of the bottom of the lens, plugs into the Preston MDR, and now you can take control of focus, iris, and or zoom in your hand unit.
Is this working?
Yeah. Or you can release zoom. So now your operator has zoom here, release focus, and your focus can go down to your shader in your mobile truck, in your broadcast studio, wherever.
Oh, wow, and it just set to that's cool.
Yeah, so it'll calibrate, and that's something you can do with the box lens, also with the portable lenses we'll talk about in a minute.
Oh, yeah, here. It's not calibrated, but there's the idea.
Yeah, you get the sense. So really giving as much versatility in setups, in uses as possible, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's using the Preston, it's more than likely this would be a Sony Venice, not a Sony F5500,
right.
Which is common in a lot of the multicam setups as well. As you mentioned earlier, areas Alexa 35 Live is now coming to market. And there's Red's got solutions. There's a lot of different solutions you can use. But now, in these live environments with a 25 to 1,000 millimeter box lens with stabilization, it enables getting those shots from positions where the cameras need to be.
Right.
Not, you can't kill another 50 seats right in front to get that tight headshot of your subject, right?
So here's a question for folks who don't know why the box lens. Why are these lenses boxes? What is it about the internals that necessitates not just being a
So
tube?
one of the key needs from the marketplace that led to the development of this is f5 at 1,000 mil. Right? F2.8 to start, f5 at 1,000 mil.
I don't specifically mean this.
No,
cool.
But so what I want to tell you, if we want speeds like that, you need a big front element.
I see.
That's a 220 millimeter front element.
They don't make
And the
screw-ons
glass,
for
the
that.
focus group, and behind that, you can see there's stabilization in there, right? So the mechanics needed to move that glass around, not only safely and efficiently, but also the robustness needed. Having the rest of that around to support. There's a lot of electronics in here that enables things like the breathing compensation and all the different ways to control. So all of that is enveloped in that box lens. When you open this up, you don't see a barrel with gears on it. You can't just grab it and twist it. It's all internal in there, and it's much bigger, heavier duty cams and things that move the glass around in there. So the box lens, when we get into these real long focal lengths, you need bigger glass, heavier glass. You need to support all that. You need the structure in place around that. And this is a 60 plus pound piece of optics. So that's really where the box comes in.
Very cool. And these there's little stabilization right there. You can see that.
Yeah. So you can turn the stabilizer on and off. We can also now with those electronics in here, we can map iris control to this knob here on the zoom demand. Right? So if you're in an environment where it's just a single camera setup and you can't it's not going to work because we have the Preston plugged in, but you can move iris control to here. We can do focus faders, focus in and out, macro, all kinds of stuff.
Because this isn't, it is yours, okay. Like the handles. I didn't.
These are our handles.
Yeah,
These are very typical setups for sports and multicam and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's
go talk about the portables.
Yeah.
So having that big box lens is great, but it's not going to work in every position on your show, right? You're going to need other lenses. You're going to need handheld lenses, portable lenses, smaller lenses. So the Duvo family, where we said that's the live multi-format environments, more suited to broadcast, we've launched 2 portable lenses. So last year at this show, we announced and had a mock-up under glass of a 24-300. So this is the 24-300. It is now shipping. It is available in the market in limited quantities, but it is shipping. You'll notice it's got the hand grip on. This is the same hand grip, the modern, latest and greatest hand grip we have in our 2/3 inch line of products, put onto a native PL mount, Super 35 lens, 24-300. It's about 6.5 pounds. 114 mil front. It comes with this hood, but if you're going to use it cinematically, you can put a standard matte box on there, clamp on. You can put rods underneath and hold it.
T2.9 to 4.2.
T2.9 to 4.2. So again, being Duvo, we're trying to maximize the ranges of the lens, and we're willing to compromise a little bit on things like exposure ramping.
Sure.
So it does roll off to 4.2 at 300 mil.
Does it do the breathing comp?
This does breathing comp. But I will warn you to keep in mind, this is geared motors onto the barrel of the lens. So the performance of the breathing comp isn't quite as good as it is up there. It works.
Hey, any amount is better than none.
It works, and it's worth testing, right?
Yeah.
I would suggest it's worth testing and determining for yourself if you're happy with it or not.
Sure.
There is a fair amount of breathing in this lens. If you've ever used the Cabrio 85-300, it breathes just as much as that. So if you're familiar with that lens, this one's going to have the same breathing characteristics. You'll see it's got this bubble on the side.
Yep.
If you've worked in broadcast, you know that usually in these bubbles, there's a 2 times extender. In the Duvo line, it's a 1.5 times expander. So we talked about that on the big lens. Same thing here. In the big lens, it's hidden in a turret inside the lens. Here, it's on the side, right?
Got it.
So that 1.5 times expander will fill a full frame image. So here we have it on the Sony Burano. If you want to shoot that full frame, it'll fill it to 41.3 mil.
Okay.
When you engage it. So the 16:9, again, we're thinking live, so it's not going to be open gate for live. So the 16:9 formats in these cameras, it'll fill that. If you choose to leave it in Super 35, not in full frame, then you're going to have a 36-450 in this footprint,
cool.
right? So that's great news. That's the back focus that you saw there. So that's your back focus adjustment. There's macro as well. And that's the 24-300. Taking this drive off is not as easy as it is with a Cabrio. Right. It is hardwired into there, so there are multiple wires that are wired in there. If taking it off is something that someone wants to do, please contact the Fujifilm Service Center, and they'll help you through that. It's a little bit cumbersome.
Yeah, niche use case.
Yeah, and some people like working without it. The good news is, just like we showed you with the big lens, you can plug your Preston in here. Yeah. Right? You can make use of that. If you want to mount a manual follow focus, you can do so from this side, obviously. You can make it work. Yeah. But we recommend keeping it on for a number of reasons. That's going to give you your RBF, remote back focus functionality. It's also going to give you all the encoded information in terms of where you are lens positionally, feeding into metadata into your viewfinder. Yeah. It also will enable, if you wanted to use extended data, it'll enable that through the hot shoe mount. Cool. Right, through the /I. So that's the 14-300. Delivering now the latest addition to the Duvo line. 24-300.
14-100.
14-100 is the latest one. So the latest edition, Japan surprised us at the show. They showed up with a couple of these that worked. They're not delivering until the end of the summer. So we were really happy to see that they brought them. There's a second one that's over on Aries booth. These good thing you came in today, because these are leaving on an airplane tomorrow back to Tokyo. Wonderful. To do some final testing. They just finished building them. They haven't done the final shaker test and put it in the fridge test and all those tests they do before they lock in the final production and then go to production. So that's just getting done when they get back next week. And then we'll see these starting to arrive late summer 2024. So very similar in terms of the 24 to 300, the same drive, same expander, same remote back focus functionality, back focus, macro, all that stuff, just a wider angle of view. So when we looked at the wide angle lens, you know, in the development cycle of a zoom lens, there's a lot of give and take as you deal with the physics of bending light.
Right.
So the faster you want the lens, the bigger the front element needs to be. The more range you want, it can get bigger or smaller. If you're willing to compromise on breathing and other things, you can start to shrink it back down. So for us with this lens, we decided we wanted to be as wide as possible at 14 millimeter, and we wanted to be as lightweight as possible. So we're about 5.5 pounds here. So something that, because we recognize the wide angles often, like it's set up here, you know, it's going to be carried on your shoulder a lot, like you guys are working today. It could be on Steadicam all day. So making it, you know, saving a couple of pounds can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So make it as lightweight as possible, as wide as possible, and then give up a little on the tele end. 100 is still pretty good. Yeah. But it's not, you know.
And then this one, almost the same focal, or
again, they all start at 2.9. This one will roll off to 3.9 at 100, right? So that starts at about 75 mil. So that ramp, it'll hold 2.9 to about 75 and then roll off. Again,
I mean, that's
pretty
good.
Set it at T4 and you're good end to end. So up to you.